I'm Kashelle from Personal Improvement Academy. Today we're going to discuss New Year's resolutions, why so many of them fail, and what you can do to keep your New Year's resolutions using strategies from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Let's jump right in. New Year's resolution failure rates. 1 week into the New Year's, statistics show that about 25% of people have already failed. A month in, that rises to 36%. 6 months, and you've got 54% failed their New Year's resolutions. By the end of the year, 88 to 91% feel they were not successful at keeping their New Year's resolutions. So why is it so hard to keep New Year's resolution? Why are all these people failing? Reasons why people are failing to keep their New Year's resolution. They set unrealistic goals. They did not track their progress. They forgot about their New Year's resolution, or some people made too many resolutions. They kind of bit off more than they could chew. If you're looking to make long-term change, the key is to have a system of habits in place to keep you on track. You have habits whether or not you're being intentional about them, right? Our brains are wired to be able to automate things so that we don't have to think about every little detail. Imagine if every time you had to go walk across the room, you had to think about lifting your foot, moving it forward, stepping down, shifting your weight, and doing it over again, right? It would take you forever to be able to do it. The thing about habits is that behaviors become automated, okay? We don't think about them anymore. You can either use those habits to help you, or you can fight against them when you're trying to make a change. How do we take our New Year's resolution and translate it into a habit that we can develop? Let's take the example of losing weight, right? That's a very common New Year's resolution. There are typically two ways that you can accomplish that. Exercise more or eat healthier. We can translate it into, I will elevate my heart rate for 2 minutes each day, or I will put my shoes on to go on a run every day when I wake up. For eating healthier, okay, the first step to being able to change any habit is to be aware of it, okay? So a starting point for this might look like every time I eat something, I will track it in my food tracker app. If your New Year's resolution is that you want to save money, you can translate that into making it very specific and actionable, okay? I will set aside this amount of money every pay period towards whatever you want to do with that money, okay? So that also gives you kind of an end goal to be able to really focus on, and it's doing something consistently throughout time, okay? Every pay period, you're putting aside this much money towards this goal. You might be thinking, okay, now I've changed my resolutions into habits, but how do I actually keep those habits? Developing habits can be hard too. So in our habit tool belt, we have a couple things that James Clear has given us in his book to help us be more successful, okay? We have environment design, habit trackers, habit stacking, implementation intentions, and the 2-minute rule. So we'll go into each of those. Okay, so for environment design, you're gonna set up your home, your work area, wherever it is that you plan to establish this habit to help you be successful. Okay, so that might look like having your yoga mat laid out and ready to go so you can just jump right in. Or that might look like setting your shoes out by the door so it's easy to put them on in the morning and get out the door to go on your run. It might look like food prepping. The idea here is that you want to make it as easy as possible for you to do the thing that you've set out to do. Okay, so then you've got habit tracker, okay? You get a little dopamine spike every time you like check something off of your list, right? I'm a list girl, so I love like my to-do lists and just being able to give it a little check mark every time. There are digital versions of this that work great. I love my digital planner. Implementation intentions are where you use something that's going to happen in your day to act as a trigger for you to do something else. You're basically putting a plan into place for what you're going to do when the situation arises. Implementation intentions take the form of when blank, I will blank. Okay, so, and you need to be specific about this. So for example, maybe you're trying to eat more healthy and around 3 o'clock you tend to need a pick-me-up and you tend to reach for a chocolate bar. You get a little craving for a chocolate bar, right? I love me my Reese's, so I get ya. Your implementation intention might look like, when I get a craving for a chocolate bar, I will eat an apple instead, okay? So you're pre-planning and putting into place what you're gonna do before the actual time gets here. Habit stacking is kind of similar. You're appending a new habit onto a habit that you have already established. For example, like maybe your existing habit is that you wake up, you get in the shower, and you get ready for work. Habit stacking could be inserting going on a run right in there. Now, your new habit looks like you wake up, you go on a run, you shower, and you get ready for work, right? So you just insert it right there to tack it onto a habit that you already have. The 2-minute rule, you're gonna simplify the habit you wanna establish to the very simplest form of that habit. okay? And it's got to take less than 2 minutes to start. The idea here is that it kind of tricks your brain because you can do anything for 2 minutes, but that momentum that you make in those first 2 minutes is going to carry you on and is going to change your behavior for, you know, maybe even hours after those 2 minutes are over, okay? So for example, if your goal is to go on a run every day, right, you want to simplify it down to the very simplest form of that habit, okay? So maybe your routine to get into that habit is you put on your shoes and you get out the door, okay? That's like the simplest, most basic level of that habit, okay? And then from there, you can build it, right? And you can grow that habit once it's established. And you might think, well, if I'm only gonna do it for 2 minutes, like that's not gonna work. But have you ever tried to run for just 2 minutes and then stopped? Like you're already there and you're going, like you have the momentum, so you're more likely to just continue, right? And that habit can grow over time. Okay, to recap, we're gonna reframe our New Year's resolutions into habits, and then we use James Clear's tools from Atomic Habits to be able to make us more successful at developing and improving those habits, okay? So some of the things we talked about are environment design, habit trackers, habit stacking, implementation intentions, and the 2-minute rule, okay? And I may do a video on those later to go into a little more detail on those. But I hope this information has been useful to help you be more successful in your New Year's resolution. If this has been helpful to you, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.